Hey, welcome back, everyone. There's been a little bit of some new Switch news. So Chris and I, Matthew, decided we go ahead and record our thoughts on it real quick, and so we can stay on top of things. Got our finger on the pulse.
So what happened was the current Nintendo president, Kimishima, he's quoted as saying that he is considering a 3DS successor because he sees a need and a market for it.
Well, Chris, I thought we already have a 3DS successor coming.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Switch.
See, that is the key issue here, because every time we've been talking about the Switch, we have been discussing it in terms of being the successor to both the Wii U and the 3DS.
Yeah.
If they're not going that direction, suddenly the conversation changes completely.
You know what I think? I think we need to key up the "Why did they do that" music.
Why did they do that? Why did they do that? Does that have to be the new stupid things everything is on about them? It's got, why did they do that? Why? Why did they do things like that? Why? I don't know, guys.
All right, Nintendo, you're in my spotlight again. You're in our crosshairs again. Because you were doing things right for a little while there. But I gotta ask, why are we talking like this now? This is bizarre to me. I don't understand why there's a need for two Nintendo handhelds plus the mobile stuff. The only thing I can think of is that Nintendo's getting a little bit with the cold feet. You know, they're kind of doing like a third pillar thing, like what they did with the DS when that came out. They said, oh, this is just a third thing, but we're gonna continue the Game Boy Advance line. And of course, what happened was the DS was really successful, so they didn't have to do that. So this might be kind of a safeguard, but I don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me worried because it makes it feel like they don't have enough confidence in this system to carry them through, and that's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, people are going to see, third-party developers are going to see, oh, Nintendo's worried about the Switch. They're still wanting to make another 3DS, and they're just going to not want to develop for the Switch if they think it's going to be like the Wii U where it doesn't get enough support. So, Kimishima, you got to stop this talk, all right? You got to show some faith in what you got. And what you have is a great idea, but you guys got to go all in on it, If in the event that the Switch isn't successful, then maybe we could start talking about a 3DS successor, because that will still have some pull. But at this point, this is just the worst timing possible for this. 1 month to launch, and you're talking about something that would give the Switch pretty healthy amount of competition from Nintendo itself.
It means that instead of being able to carve its own niche out in the gaming sector, the Switch is suddenly going to have to be competing against Nintendo's own handheld. And in the spectrum of gaming devices, you've traditionally had handhelds and consoles. Well, nowadays phones are so popular. Nintendo's getting into all the mobile games now.
Yeah,
that's eating into the handheld market right there. And this Switch thing, which is kind of a tablet, kind of a console, that's already pushing towards the mobile sector of things. It's like half mobile, half console. So if they actually come out with a dedicated mobile console, then not only will that have trouble fighting against the smartphone side of things, but it's how is it going to be that different from the Switch?
Yeah, see, the secret to the Switch, in my eyes, the most exciting thing about it is not that it's a console that's also a portable, per se. That's cool. But the most exciting thing about it is that it's a consolidation of Nintendo libraries, which means if Nintendo plays their cards right and goes all in on this system, it's going to have a terrific library. It's not going to have any droughts. They're not going to have to support two systems, which is usually like them supporting one system all the way and one supporting it kind of halfway. And it's going to also, invite more third-party developers because it's pretty much going to be the only dedicated handheld system on the market. That's that has buttons and stuff. It's not just mobile games.
Mm-hmm.
The mobile industry, it's a different industry. We're trying to get Tadpole Trouble picked up by a publisher for mobile, and a bunch of them are all saying the same thing. Where are the free to play elements?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the buying it piece by piece? And that's not really the type of game Tadpole Trouble is. It's designed to be like a video game that you play like on your console or on your 3DS, where you buy the game and then you have the whole game. So it's just a different market these days, and having a dedicated handheld like the Switch fill that gap. I mean, that's a really smart thing to do. So I just hope they're not getting cold feet or anything, because that could damage it in the long run.
Absolutely. As soon as they show that they're not committing to it entirely, I think developers are going to reconsider investing in it, especially while they're the developers that currently make 3DS games. To convince them to go to the Switch, you can't make a 3DS 2.
Yeah, it seems kind of self-defeating to me, and to you it sounds like.
Yeah.
There is some good news though.
What's that?
On top of this, Nintendo is stepping up their marketing. They've made their first Super Bowl commercial ever, and it's all about the Switch, and it's going to be airing. Apparently, it costs $5 million to get that 30-second slot in the fourth quarter of the game, which historically, from what I've read, is the more watched section of the game. So they have a 30-second Switch ad during the Super Bowl, and it's quite good. I think it conveys the idea of the system very concisely, very quickly. It shows Zelda, which is the best looking game on the system right now, and yeah, it just gets the message it needs to get across. I'm just hoping the public eats it up.
Oh, I didn't actually watch the 30-second version. I watched the big version.
Oh, okay.
Here, I'll watch the 30-second version, and I will give my live reaction.
Sure.
Okay, Nintendo Switch. Got the song. Got a guy in a bed. He's sleeping. He's waking up. Oh, he picks up the Switch. It's right there.
My kind of guy.
He's playing Zelda without even getting out of bed. Yeah, he knows what's up. He's playing it while he's cooking. Then he goes to his living room, sits down, and boom, it's on TV.
There you go. On the TV.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it shows you what the Switch can do. It shows off Zelda. I can't imagine a better commercial.
It's I think they've learned from the issue with the Wii U being a little confusing in terms of an immediately appealing idea that you can see and immediately understand why it's cool. I mean, it was kind of the things where it's like, oh, maybe you can have a game that does this or this or this. And it's like, okay, that's kind of neat, but you're going to have to think about it a little bit, With the Switch, it's very clear. It's like, okay, this is a handheld. You can also play it at home. It looks great. You got your console quality games on the go, and here's Zelda. So there is that. I'm glad that they're doing that. I think it's a smart idea. I think it's coming right at the right time. The Super Bowl and the system launches in a few weeks. Mm-hmm. So that's all good. Let's see more of that. Let's see a lot of confidence in this system because I do think that they're keeping the 3DS. It has a few games coming out. It's got the Fire Emblem game coming out. It's got Beyond Oasis, and that's pretty typical. You kind of peter off with the previous system. But let's talk about the new 3DS Successor. That's I don't know, man.
Right. I would clarify that I would certainly expect the 3DS just to be healthy and vibrant for the next couple of years. With the Game Boy Advance and the original DS, really every popular console has a very long lifespan that goes into the next generation.
Yeah.
You look at the PlayStation, the PS2, the Super Nintendo, the NES. The NES had games coming out until 95, I think.
Yeah, NES had a really long life cycle. And Game Boy kind of got a second wind after Pokemon came out in 98 in America.
Yeah, it's simply because you have that huge installed base for a really popular console that they keep buying games. So there's no reason not to keep making them. So I certainly see a future for the 3DS. I do not see even a slight bit of wisdom in coming out with the 3DS Successor unless the Switch is like a failure. So I think I'm on your side where I can imagine that this is just their safeguard plan, like you said, the whole third pillar strategy, which ended up being kind of like a front for the stockholders not freaking out over this crazy new idea. Sort of. So we will see. If they actually announce more than this, then I will be concerned.
The only thing that I could be on board with really at this point along these lines is something that plays Switch games. That's a handheld. So it's they share a library, so it's still like you're not alienating one of your markets, and it's really more of like a smaller portable Switch, kind of part of that Switch line. I can see something like that working. But you got like separate. I don't want to do the whole like, oh, here's Mario Kart, here's Mario Kart, here's New Super Mario Bros., here's New Super Mario Brothers, kind of bringing out these games that it gets a little old. After a while, it feels a little mass produced. Like, we gotta have a new Super Mario Brothers game on this system. Now we gotta have one on this system. Just like, just focus it all together. Get one of each of these games and then move on to like some other series, some
Yeah.
F-Zero in there.
I think that's not a bad idea because, like, in say 3 years from now, they could probably have a 3DS sized device that's roughly as powerful as the Switch, just like probably like a lower display resolution because it's a smaller screen. But I mean, I think that's technologically feasible. So that I actually think would be okay if it's got the same library, the same cards, etc.
Yeah.
And it can do most of the same functions and has maybe some cool like connectivity.
Yeah.
So that's an okay idea in terms of not wrecking the Switch. But if it is a competing platform, then that would be a disaster.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? Have you had time to ruminate on this news? Is that the word? Ruminate? Marinate? Have you time to ruminate and marinate on this news? What did you think of the Super Bowl commercial? And do you think Nintendo's on the right track with their Switch marketing so far? Let us know in the comments. And as usual, hang around here. We'll be posting up videos regularly, especially around this time. Exciting times, new system and everything. So
Yeah.
I guess until next time, I'm Matthew.
And I'm Chris.
And we will smell you flip side.